Hey, welcome to episode 11. I'm Dan. If this is the first time you're watching one of my videos, welcome to the channel and click that subscribe button now. And if you've already subscribed and you're back again, then
I love you. Thank you much.
I've pulled together a short video to give a status update on the 20k to 100k challenge. During the first 2 days of the challenge, I've made 7 trades in total. And whilst the market is extremely choppy right now, I have been able to end the week on a profit. And I thought it was worth going through 2 trades that really stuck out to me for different reasons to see what I did well and what I can do better next time. And I'll also show you how I found these 2 specific stocks, as that may help you reduce your screening time in the future. So the first stock we're going to start with is FBIO. And first of all, I just want to take you through how I found the stock. So we can see here on a penny stock screen on YouTube, the FBIO around 9:33 in the US market was getting some notification through that there was high volume going through on this stock. And you can also see here on this screener the percentage that it's up on that day, the volume on the day, the relative volume, the float, and also a strategy name, so just a brief description of what's happening with that stock. If you are interested in using this screener, it is free, but it is on a 1-minute delay. I'll put a link in the video description area. So after being alerted to this stock by the screener, I tend to not trade for the first 30 minutes at least of trading, because it tends to give you a low here and a high here for the day, so a range to kind of trade in or to look to trade in throughout the day. So we can see here on this stock that it's already gapped up, and then it's increased for the first 30 minutes of the day all the way up to a point of 5.79 a share. So that's a pretty big percentage increase at the start of the day. Anyway, after the first 30 minutes of trading, it started to drop back down. We can see here that there was a level of support. However, the support failed and there's 2 big red candles that take it back down to the 510 range. From there, it goes back down to around the $5 mark. So there's clearly support, and that $5 range is quite a psychological level of support. People don't want to see it drop below that because then that would turn into resistance to get back above it. With this big red candle and the 2 green candles that followed, it signalised to me that there's support in the $5 area. So then I wanted to see if it retraced slightly, and it didn't really pull back very much, and it started building momentum. So I bought in around the 508 range. Now it went up and I was sitting on a small profit and I could have taken it here. However, this big candle here kind of shook me up a little bit because I felt like it was going to go back down and test that $5 range. Now, so to mitigate any losses, I sold at 506 quickly just to kind of get out the trade because I was a little bit spooked by this. I was already on a loss from the day before and I didn't really want to kind of like risk my balance on this trade. So if I just scroll back out again, we can see here, this is kind of my thought process and logic for the trade. At this point, it could have kind of retraced back down to this region here, so the 570 region, where it was averaging around the day before, which would have represented to me a 38 cents per share loss, which would have been quite significant. I think it's important to say at this point, I'm still learning and I'm still kind of educating myself and trying to improve constantly, day by day, to make sure that I become a better trader. So in hindsight, I'd say I probably made a mistake on this one. The downside was around 38 cents per share, but actually it could have gone 504 back up to kind of 580 again. So I had double the opportunity at the top end. So it's really easy to look at this and think I made a mistake because when you can see the rest of the chart action and it's all written down in front of you, it's obvious what you should have done. I think at one point it kind of hit the 560-ish range up here. So clearly some good support for it. The volume was there. Probably next time shouldn't have sold at 506. And by writing down every single trade and going through them and seeing what I did right and what I did wrong, actually from this I can take a really good lesson to kind of be a little bit more patient with the stock here. So for next time, if I did let this play out, what would I do differently? So say for example it got up to like the 521 range. What I could have done here was set a stop loss at 510, and that basically would have allowed me to take some small profit because I entered at 508 and ultimately have a risk-free ride for the rest of the journey throughout the day. So just to recap on this one, I think I probably bought about 3 minutes too early. I should have waited for the first kind of kickback and see what happened in this support level. So for next time, I'd probably wait and just see if it retraces slightly back down. And then I can enter at the kind of 506 range, 504 range. And then from there, I think it's a case of just setting a stop limit that you're happy with, that can bank you some profit, and just enjoying the rest of the journey. Now, it's really, really hard, and ultimately what happens is with trading, you feel like you've either left money on the table or you've given money away. You're never really going to get it bang on. I'd say 99% of the time you're going to do one of those 2 options. If by chance you did sell at the 564 range, then amazing, well done, but that's few and far between. You can see all the action that's going on. It's so hard to hit that kind of point there. So lesson learned, I'll try and do things differently next time around and try not to panic and take in more data. And I think as you get more experience, you learn all these different movements and signs and you're able to analyse things a lot quicker. It becomes second nature. Anyway, let's move on to CGA. So first of all, let's start with how did I find CGA? So I use the Finviz screener for this. Essentially I put price on under $15, SMA 50 and 200 above, relative volume above 3, and current volume and float. I have current volume at over 200k and float under 20 million, which basically means there's a lot of volume pouring into these stocks and the float's relatively small, which potentially means there's going to be a high level of volatility on that stock. And you can change this if you want. You can tweak things around and make it kind of suit your trading style. So you could go float under 50 million if that's kind of more interesting to you. You don't want things that are going to jump as much. And again, I'll put a link to this screener in the video description area. So here we are on the CGA chart, and I'll just take you through where I bought and where I sold, and ultimately what I can do better next time and the lessons learned. So I've noticed on the level 2 data that the walls were fairly thin on this stock. So I started to accumulate in the 726, 729. And with this being a low float, there's quite a big spread on it, and you can probably see over here that there's a relatively decent size spread right now. So 753 it closed at in terms of the sell price, and 776 to buy from the market. So I think at this point I added around £10,000 worth of shares, and then I could see it start spiking up, so I added another 10,000 in. Essentially what happened was it started to come through on my penny stock screener as well, so you're here in CGA, and then from there it kind of rocketed up. I actually clicked sell in the 780 range. However, because trading 2-on-2 is a little bit slow sometimes to execute orders, I got lumbered with a 761 or in that zone sell price. Now what happened there was it kind of shot up at a buy price to 856. So I've already set this square up here, and you can see exactly how much I've had of a window to sell for a better price. So again, I've probably panicked a little bit and gone a bit too early. And I think if I was critical of myself, that's my biggest downfall when it comes to trading. I definitely sell too early. I suppose what happened was I saw £500, £700 profit, and I've tried to bank that to make sure that I get my net position nicely back above 20k, which I've achieved. So ultimately I shouldn't be too harsh on myself. I think I made over £500 on this trade, probably across, let's have a look. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 minutes to make £500. So you can't really argue at that rate of return. And I think one thing to note on these low float stocks is that it's gone from 740 range up to 856 in 2 minutes. So it's incredibly volatile, and just as quickly as it can go up, these can come back down. And what we can see here on this chart is it's done exactly that. So it's peaked at 856, and then by kind of 20 minutes later it's already dropped back to like the 760 range. So you really have to be careful on these, and I think lessons learned from the past, actually it's better to get out and take profit on these rather than kind of holding on. So yeah, I probably sold a little bit too early, but ultimately the technique and the approach was right, and I did the right thing. Now what you'll find is that you may have one spike in the day here, but ultimately if it holds to the kind of VWAP for the day, you may see another spike again. So actually this is, you can tell without applying the VWAP, you can see here that it's roughly held around a certain price, and that it's started to get momentum again later on in the day. So you could have made some more money back at this end as well. So I think the final thing to say on this stock is, if you do end up buying on one of these big red candles that are shooting down and you feel like you're locked in and you've taken on quite a big loss, don't panic sell, because if you look at the rest of the chart and how it plays out, hits a bottom around here and then starts to recover momentum again. And I think at this point it's hit like the 836 range. So you're going to have an opportunity to get out. And I had this exact scenario occur on a stock called Alster last week, where essentially I bought and then got caught on a big downtrend, and at one point I was £1,000 down. However, I held throughout the whole day, and it ended up getting back to where it was earlier in the day. And in the end I ended up making a very small profit on Alster of around £4, which obviously is far, far better than losing £1,000. Anyway, that's it for this episode. It was just a very quick recap on 2 trades that I made this week, ultimately to see what I can do better next time and to see how I can keep improving my trading. And if you're new to trading, you may get some value out of this, so hit that subscribe button. I really appreciate everyone's support. I log every single trade that I make on the subreddit ISA Invest Challenge, and I'll put a link to that sub in the video description section below. There's nothing else for me to say now other than thank you for watching, stay safe and happy investing for the week ahead.
Jiankui!